Hey there, gamers. We are going to go over a factoring quiz review today. Um, that sounds an awful lot like you have a factoring quiz, doesn't it? That's because you have a factoring quiz. If you log on to Student View and go under assessments, you're going to see this week, instead of just a regular assignment, you're going to have a factoring quiz. So the way a quiz is going to work in this perilous time of disease and ruin that has run rampant across the planet, what you're going to do is you're going to take the quiz. There are, I think, 10 or 11 quiz questions in there. Some of them should look kind of familiar. You're going to do those, and then I'm going to look at your grade. If you have a good grade, I'm going to go look at your past quizzes, and I'm going to replace your bad old quiz grade with your new good quiz grade. However, if you don't do the quiz, or you are, just booty cheeks at factoring, and I'm not really sure how that's going to be possible since you're at home, with open notes, open video reviews, open, assistance. That should be pretty difficult. As long as you, put some effort into it, you can probably get 100% on this. So we're going to go over some different stuff today. You have 3 different types of questions. Also, the notes. I'm not going to teach it to you. I've already written the notes. So I'm going to basically read to you in case you can't read, point at some stuff, elaborate a little. The usual business. It'll be just like you're in class, except my handwriting will be better than normal because I took some time. Do you see how my O's still float though? Like the T, O, and R, and I, and N, and kind of the G, they all float off the line. But the F, the A, and the C touch. That's crazy, huh? Anyway, so factoring quiz review. We're going to talk about the types of factoring first. The first one is simple, right? We call it simple because it's easy peasy lemon squeezy, just like mashed but cheesy. Okay. So simple, you are going to know it is simple for 2 reasons. The first thing is you're going to count the terms. 1, 2, 3. It has 3 terms. Every single time simple factoring will have 3 terms. So if there are 3 terms, you do this. Okay. The second thing you want to look for is A has to be a 1. If there's no number written there, you'll have this invisible 1 here. There might be a 1 there, probably not, because 99% of humans are competent enough to understand there's an invisible 1. So we leave it invisible. If A is 1 and there are 3 terms, it is simple factoring, guaranteed. You're going to follow these instructions. Okay? You might have to factor out a GCF. If there's like a 2 here, and you can factor a 2 out, factor out the 2, then do simple factoring. You might have to do 2 steps. Okay, breathe. You guys are 15, 16, 17, 23. You know what I mean? Like, you guys are old enough to do 2 steps. You'll be fine. Okay. So if the leading coefficient is a 1 and there are 3 terms, we're going to do simple factoring. The way we do simple factoring is we're going to find 2 numbers that multiply to C. Well, let's find C before we go any further, right? We don't want to go too fast for the people in the back. C, okay, here's the C. It means the number at the end without an X. See how there's not a variable there? It's just a number. C is the number at the end with no variable. Okay. So we're going to find 2 numbers that multiply up to C. All right, so we're going to find numbers that multiply to 10. And add to B. All right, so B is 7. We need 2 numbers that are going to add up to 7. So our numbers are 2 and 5. 2 plus, that's what add means, 2 plus 5 is 7. Okay, that's B. So my 2 numbers do add to B. Check mark, they do that part. 2 times 5 is 10. That's C. So they multiply to C, and they add up to give me B. So 2 and 5 are my 2 numbers. Ta-da, we found the 2 numbers. That's the toughest part, is figuring out that combination. I recommend factor 10 first and find a pair of factors from 10 that'll add up to 7. That's probably your easiest business there. Okay, once you have your two numbers, 2 and 5 for this problem up there, put them in binomials. So a binomial, like bicycle has two wheels, bisexual people are attracted to two genders, bilateral is a word that I can say, things like that. Bi means two, so binomial, two number. So it means there's two things in the parentheses. So we take our two numbers, 2 and 5, we put them in their own binomials. Because it's positive 2 and positive 5, we put plus 2 and plus 5. Let's say it were negative 2 and positive 5, we would put minus 2 and plus 5. All right, so the plus or minus in your binomial is determined by the sign of your two numbers that we figured out up here. Put those in your parentheses. And then these x's come from, we need two things that multiply to give us x squared. So x times x is x squared, right? These two front terms have to multiply to give us this thing. So if this were x to the fourth, it would be x squared and x squared instead. Okay, so that's simple factoring. SparkNotes version, find two numbers that multiply to C. Those same two numbers have to add up to B. They go in binomials. Ask yourself, what two things multiply to give me this first term? So x times x gives me x squared. That's what you put in front of your binomial. Simple factoring. Cool. The second type of factoring you're going to see on your quiz. Excuse me, I'm parched. Allow me to take a sip of water. See, if I were a competent teacher, I would learn to video edit that out, but I feel like it takes away from the authenticity of the video, so we're gonna leave it in. All right, we're gonna talk about complex factoring next. You'll notice that complex factoring also has three terms, so this one could be confused as simple factoring. That's right. That's one we just went over. But you'll notice that our A term, in this case it's 5, it just can't be 1. If it's any other number than 1, you're probably going to do complex factoring. Remember, step 0 is factor out a GCF though. If you do not factor out the GCF first, this won't work. You're going to F it up. Okay, go back. Read this again. Remember. Remember means stop and think about it before you just go ham on this thing. Remember says take a deep breath, Gamsa Hamnida or Shalom in the home. Whatever mantra you like to say that chills you out. Say that. Go, all right. Factoring, what are we going to do first? Oh, I remember there's something I'm supposed to do right now. Maybe I should look at my notes. Look, Mr. Barton thought ahead for me. Remember, step 0, factor out a GCF. Factor out if there is one. 5 and 27. Let's see. The only factors of 5 are 1 and 5 because it's prime. 27, let's see. 1, 3, 3, I believe 9 and 27. They don't share any in common besides 1. So there is no common factor. So we get to skip step 0. There isn't a common factor for this problem. But do it if there is. If you don't, you'll F it up, dog. Okay. Once we've established that there is no common factor, it has 3 terms still, and there is an A term that is not 1 that we can't get rid of, we go, complex factoring. Wonderful. I'm so glad someone figured this out several hundred years ago for me. All right. Step 1 is multiply A to C. A, you'll notice from up here, is the leading coefficient. It's the thing next to the x squared. Okay, it's our 5. C is the last number. It's the number without the x. We're going to take a, move it to the back, and multiply it to c. Okay, so in this case, 5 times 10, that's 50. The 5 is no longer there. It moves to the back and multiplies there, and they're both there. They're the 50. The x squared comes down, the 27x comes down, and our new 50 comes down. Okay, you're not done. There are multiple steps. I know, God forbid you have to do more than one thing in your life. All right, step 2. We're going to simple factor that thing we just got. So x squared plus 27x plus 50. All right, we go back to Mr. Barton's first page of notes. You do this process on this thing. Okay, so we need two numbers that multiply to 50 and add up to 27. Well, 50, that's two 25s, so 2 times 25. If I add those, that's 27. That's B, check mark. 2 times 25 is 50, that's C, check mark. 2 and 25 are the numbers I'm looking for. They go in the back of my binomials. Now I ask myself, what two things did I multiply together to get x squared? X and x. Those go in the front of my binomials. Okay, so we did our simple factoring. We got x plus 2, x plus 25. All the kids that skim the video or don't pay attention in class and don't take notes, I know who you are. You know who you are. Your mother probably doesn't know who you are. But fortunately, we'll keep it between us. You probably just stopped here, dingus. Don't be a dingus. Don't stop here. Do the last step. We have to divide by the a term. Okay. In this case, our a term, when we started this complex factoring, it's that 5. So we bring the 5. Ooh, follow the arrow. Follow the arrow. We use that 5. Divide by a. That's 5. So we're going to divide these numbers by 5. 2 divided by 5. 25 divided by 5. Okay. Now, you're going to say, Mr. Barton, you ignored the whole left side of the page. I know I did. It's because it's in this cool text bubble thingy coming out of this step. That means you read it when you get here. Okay. 25 divided by 5 is 5. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. You learn that in like the womb. Okay. Now 2 divided by 5. Excuse me, I misspoke. Forgive me. 2 divided by 5. You go, Mr. Barton, you know my 3 greatest fears in life are hard work, disappointing my parents, and fractions. And this is one of those 3 things. So you'll have to forgive me if one of my 3 greatest fears in life stops me from completing the problem. Don't worry, I've written a cheat sheet on how to avoid the fraction and not face your fears. Okay, so first of all, it's a fraction. You should learn how to deal with that eventually, kid. Second of all, here's how you deal with it in complex factoring. We don't do the fraction. We read the cheat sheet bubble. First of all, we should reduce. Hypothetically, if we had x plus 4 over 10, 4 over 10, 2 goes into both of these numbers, so we reduce this to 2 over 5, which is what we actually have. Okay, so we have 2 over 5. We don't mess with this fraction. We move the denominator in front of the x. So the denominator is the bottom number. The 5 scoots in front of that x, as seen right here. The 5 scoots in front of the x. Bingo, there it is. There's the 2 still. There's the plus. There's the x. 5 accounted for. Everyone's here. Fire drill complete. We're done. Check that out. So instead of turning this into a decimal or some weird stuff, just move the 5 in front of the x. So it's 5x plus 2 times x plus 5. That's your answer right there. Okay. Disclaimer. I think this is bogus math. If you're getting like a PhD, like and you're watching my video for some reason on how to do math, first of all, I want to be on your first paper. Like, just put me on as like second author. That'd be great. Second of all, I think this is bogus math. If you look, important, let's go back. Remember, I bet you already forgot. Now we're remembering. Remember, if you don't take out the GCF at the very beginning, I believe right here when you reduce this, it cancels out your GCF, like it eliminates it somehow. And I'm a dingus, to be honest with you. I don't really get how math works. Like my master's degree, that's fake. When you reduce this, because like this has the GCF in it and this has the GCF in it, the GCF cancels itself out. So right here, you lose the GCF. So if you don't take out the GCF as step 0, like before you even start complex factoring, this here deletes it, and you'll get the correct binomials, but you'll be missing like a 4 or a 2 out here in front. So if you skip that, take out the GCF part, this doesn't work and you get very slightly the wrong answer. So be aware, you know. Cool. Alrighty, moving right along. Let's do an easy one. You know what I mean? Like, wipe your brow, go on, brush your shoulders off. Ladies, you're mathematicians too. Go on, brush your shoulders off. Okay, we're going to end on an easy one. We're going to do grouping because everyone gets grouping. So this is the third type of factoring that we've talked about up to now. And you're going to see some of these on your quiz too. So grouping, easy peasy to identify. Like, you should never accidentally do the wrong thing on a grouping problem. Simple and complex, I get it, whatever. But this one, this is the only one that has 4 terms, right? Count them. 1, 2, don't mess up now, 3, 4. 4 terms. It's grouping. There you go, you're done. You know it's grouping because it's 4 terms. I don't care what A, B, C, D are. I don't really care what the X's are. It doesn't matter. If there are 4 things, do grouping, dog. Cool. All right. Step numero uno for grouping. Factor out the GCF shared by the first and second terms. Okay, let's go look. First and second. So we're looking at these first two. The 21x cubed minus the 7x squared. Okay, factor out the GCF of the first 2 terms and the third and fourth terms. That's these 2 right here. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at only the first 2 terms and then only the last 2 terms. So you group them. Wow, that's so weird. You put them in little tiny groups. I wonder why this is called grouping. It's almost like we want to put them in little groups, you know? That's so weird. It's like people name things for reasons. Okay, so we put them in little groups. 21x cubed minus 9x squared. 3 goes into this. 3 goes into that. So we're going to take out a 3. This has 3 x's. This has 2 x's. I can take 2 from both of them. I can't take 3. This guy only has 2. If I'm like, hey, give me all your lunch money. Give me $3. I'm hungry, right? And he says, I only have $2. No matter how many times I hit this kid in the face and like knock his teeth out, you're not gonna get another dollar out of him, right? And Newton's third law tells me, however hard I hit him, his face hits my hand just as hard back. So I'm getting punched in the hand every single time. It's not worth the effort. Don't waste your time trying to take a third x. He doesn't have it. You can't take it. Just take 2. So we're going to take out 3 from the 2 numbers. Excuse me. I got a little bit of coronavirus brain, you know. Take a 3 out of both of these. Take 2 x's from both of these. So we're going to factor out a 3x squared. Put that thing in front. 3 goes into 21 7 times. There were 3 x's. I took out 2. There's 1 left. 3 goes into negative 9, negative 3 times. There were 2 x's. I took both of them out. See how there's no x's there anymore? It's because they're both over there. Cool. Now we do the same thing to both of these. Negative 28 and 12. Eventually I'm going to want this and this to match. So you see how that's negative and that's positive? We need to change the sign of this. So I'm going to take a negative out. Whatever I take out, make it negative because we want the sign to change. Okay, what's the GCF of 28 and 12? It's 4. So we're going to take out negative 4. There's the negative 4 right there. Put that down. Now factor the negative 4 out of these. Divide these by negative 4. Negative 4 goes into negative 28, positive 7 times. There's an x. We're not messing around with x's. We're not taking any x's out, so just leave it there. It's right there. Okay. 12 divided by negative 4, that's negative 3. Bingo. These must match. That's mucho importante. Important. Super duper important. These have to match. If they don't match, go back and try and factor out a different GCF. Or try rearranging these. Sometimes that helps. If you take like the middle two and flip them, sometimes that's the ticket. All right. These match. Cool. Now, sorry, I have to rearrange my paper. I'm not a professional yet. We're going to factor out the shared binomial. See how this thing is there and it's also there? These terms share this binomial. That means it's a GCF. It's a common factor of these two terms. So let's factor that stuff out. Okay. So we're going to factor out the shared binomial. This thing. It comes out here in front. That's why it's called the shared binomial. Words are hard. Get it? This is like one of those Instagram things that you guys put like above your heads and try and sound it out, and you're like post yeah, words are hard. Words are hard. Yeah. There's the shared binomial. It comes out in front. Then to get this thing, it's just the leftover stuff. It's the 3x squared and the negative 4. 3x squared minus 4. These are the GCFs that are left over once you remove the shared binomials off it. So this shared binomial times the binomial made of these leftover GCFs. These are your two binomials. This is your answer. You're donezo. But remember, oh no, Barton, a second thing to remember. I have to remember two things. I know. Remember this too, kids. To check for any GCFs in your answer. If you have a GCF here or here, you have to factor it way out in front there. Okay? So let's say this were like a 4. 4 and 4. Factor the 4 out there. And you'll have a 4 in front, and this will be x squared minus 1. Something like that. Alrighty, so there's your review. Please make sure you do your quiz. Try not to game too hard. I know you guys are probably recovering from that holiday we just had. I hope you didn't ruin too many brain cells, you know. Okay. Make sure you do your quiz. If you need help, band or email me. Or, oh my god, my hands are so pink. Ugh. Alright. I'll see you guys later.